Hello there. Welcome back to the Senate Podcast. We're on episode number 22. Our 5 seminal movies in our watch list. So these are movies we have never seen, but we need to. They're, for some reason, still in our list. We haven't watched them yet. The top 5 seminal ones. I'll go ahead and start. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Number 1, Rambo First Blood.
Yeah.
Reason
same.
this is in my... Is that on your list?
No, but I haven't seen it.
Okay. Let's make this rule. If I say one or you say one and we have it on each other's list, we can just jump in and say that we have it on our list and both talk about it. So Rambo First Blood. Here's the thing with this pick. I love movies from that time period. I love movies from the 80s. I'm caught up on probably every other series from that time period except for Rambo. And the premise of these movies speak exactly to what I like in movies. And the story, everything about it. This is a legendary movie. You know what I mean? Who hasn't seen the Rambo movies? And you know what? I was in the same boat with the Rocky movies until about 4 months ago. I finally watched, not all of them, but I watched the first one. That would have been on this list, but I watched it. So just my first one. It is an iconic Sylvester Stallone movie from the 80s. Probably a seminal movie that any lover of action movies, needs to watch, and that's Rambo. That's just my first one. Hopefully they get a little better, but I know you're disappointed.
I haven't seen it. It's on my list too. Okay, my first seminal movie that I have yet to watch is Pulp Fiction. Now, this is inexcusable for a multitude of reasons. One of them is which I've always liked movies with like snappy dialogue, that kind of small scale. In my defense, though, and this is probably going to be a weird thing to bring up, but like when
when you're done.
Back when I was in church, I had this feeling that like I wasn't allowed to like watch, stuff that was like too mature. So there were quite a few movies that I kind of missed out on. So I kind of spent the past like 3 years playing catch up. So there's that aspect. And then I'm going to ruin my film fan card even more by saying I hadn't seen a Quentin Tarantino movie until a year ago.
Which one was it?
Kill Bill 1 and 2.
Okay.
And they were fantastic. I want to butt in.
This first pick for me was between Rambo and Pulp Fiction because I have never seen it. But I have actually, I don't think I've ever seen a Quentin Tarantino movie until last year when I first watched The Inglourious Basterds. And
I haven't seen that one yet.
That movie, I think that movie, because I love war movies. So that's why I put Rambo up there above the other ones, because I think I would really love Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill. But I think I got enough taste of Quentin Tarantino from The Inglourious Basterds, and then I was like, okay, Rambo I think is up there because that suits me more.
Yeah.
But I think you'll love it. I loved how Quentin Tarantino did that, so I think that's on my list too. But the point of this is to ruin our credibility.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Okay. Yeah.
You want to say anything else?
That's basically the only thing I gotta say. So, I have a reason for why I haven't seen this, but it's inexcusable because I hadn't seen a movie by this filmmaker for so long. And as soon as I started watching Kill Bill Volume 1, I'm like, what have I been doing with my life? Like, never again.
Okay. I don't know. My next pick is very interesting because I told you my picks for both movies and games span from going way back to very recent. And my next 2 picks are at the complete opposite ends of the spectrum. So I'll say my next one is it is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I'm just I'm not gonna leave. I'm not. I've
That is a
left
very recent
mentally,
movie.
but I'm still here physically.
When I can't tell you how many times I was on my TV ready to click buy or rent or watch or whatever, and I just for some reason didn't because I was like, I gotta save it. But
For
this is
what?
a seminal.
A
I
nuclear
think this
war?
is maybe this is probably just a seminal movie in general, like that just everybody needs to see, and especially me, somebody who loves multiverse stories. I love action. I love stuff like new war detective type stuff, action and like war, but also multiverse stories. I love things with alternate outcomes, alternate choices.
Yeah,
I
me
think it
too.
gets super interesting. That's why I love Back to the Future. It's one of my favorites. And I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is a seminal movie with multiverse, storytelling. That's
I
on
mean,
my
it's better than
list. So
Multiverse of Madness. That's all I'm saying.
exactly. That's like they came out the same year, and I love Multiverse of Madness for that fact. But this, from what I hear, is the best multiverse movie ever.
Pretty
So
much. Yeah. Quick story about this. So I was, um, damn, sorry. Edit that out. I saw this movie when I was playing this visual novel on Switch and PC called Across the Grooves. It's
okay,
basically it's made by a French studio. I don't remember their name. And it's basically this lady gets a record in the mail from her ex-boyfriend, and it's like not labeled. There's no like note, and it just has like a blank white label. So she listens to it, and then she finds herself like back in time to when they were on a date, when they were still together. And yet she like interacts with him briefly, wakes up, and then she's not dating the person she's currently dating. So she's traveled back in time by listening to this record. And, long story
that sounds
short,
amazing.
yo,
Actually,
dude, the freaking story for a visual novel gets crazy. Like, you find out that, like, there's this lady tracking her looking for the record because, like, she's the leader of a cult that, like, uses the record to, like, like try and right things in their past. And you can make choices, like, culminating in whether you want to get back with your ex or smash the record and like try and live a new life.
dude,
And
that
there are
sounds
choices
awesome.
like that along the way. And dude, like I always struggled with the idea of like thinking about things that I could have done differently. Like, oh, I can't believe I ruined that opportunity. What would have happened if I would have went for it? That would drive me nuts. And then
I
I
love those stories.
I wasn't done with the game yet. So I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, and that movie was literally like, this is gonna sound weird speaking about art, but it's rarely happened with art. It was genuinely a spiritual awakening. I'm not even kidding. Like
Yeah,
I just had this moment where for once I was kind of like more grounded in the present moment. Like I've learned how to ground myself better since. I'm still not perfect, but it's not. I felt like that lifted a big weight off my mind, and then so when I played the rest of the game afterward. When I got to the end, I made the choice not to try and rekindle the old romance, but to see what new possibilities awaited me. And I know that if it wasn't for that movie, I probably would have played the game with the mindset that I used to have. So
yeah,
it was just this
and
weird harmonization of video game and movie that just
and
freaking
that's why I
changed
love
everything.
sci-fi because it's such a bizarre premise and sci-fi, movie, which
Uh-huh.
with everything that happens in it. And I love it because it's able to make such interesting
Yeah.
stories. So tell me your that was my second. Tell me your
All
second
right.
pick.
Second is The Godfather.
That's on my list.
Okay. So
Yeah, that's
I
lower on
don't
my
know
list
why
or
I
higher.
haven't seen it because, I hear one and two are great. And then the third one exists. It's a movie. Yeah.
So what I
It's
hear
a
is
movie.
it is one of the most perfect movies ever made,
Yeah.
and I
Like
see that everywhere.
like I remember back when I was a teenager, I played the Godfather video game on PS2. Do you remember that?
It sounds
It was
familiar.
sick, dude. It was sick.
It sounds
It was like a
familiar.
quality, like it was, kind of like Grand Theft Auto-ish. You could like go to stores and extort people for money and like choose how violent you want to be and stuff. Yeah, I don't have much to say other than I don't know. Like, it's one of those movies that's always been on my radar, but I don't know. I've just never. I think because it's like kind of long, and like with like
Yeah,
long movies, I like there are a few other long movies I've wanted to watch, and like I never feel like I'm in the mindset where I could like focus enough for that long, which is sad. I know I'm trying to work on it, but yeah. What about you?
that's it's on my list because it's one of those movies that has the whole aesthetic and vibe and everything that I love. The whole mafia kind of new war type, uh, you know what I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
setting to it, and it just I'm looking at it now. It looks like a movie I would love, and it's from an era of movies that I love too, and it's regarded as one of the greatest movies ever. It's a crime drama. I love stuff like that. So I don't know. It's just a seminal movie that is on my list still. That's it.
yeah.
All right, my next one. You ready for this? I'm a big fan of Star Wars. Okay, I'm a big fan of George Lucas. The reason I'm a fan of George Lucas is because his style was influenced greatly by this person. You know where I'm going with this?
Steven Spielberg.
Akira Kurosawa.
Oh, yeah.
My on my list is Seven Samurai. Also The Hidden Fortress, but more so Seven Samurai.
Yeah,
Because
I've been wanting to watch that for years.
yeah, it is right up my alley. It's an old movie from 1954, which I already love. I think that's awesome. It's an action drama. It's 3.5 hours long. I love obviously the whole samurai aspect. Like right here beside me, I have a Jin Sakai Funko Pop. I have the Last Ronin like figure. I got Darth Maul, which is inspired by samurais and stuff like that from Star Wars. And it's just I think one of the most seminal movies ever made because Kurosawa is probably top 5 filmmakers ever if you want to talk about importance. That and then also other movies that inspired him like westerns with John Wayne and Clint Eastwood, stuff like that. I want to watch some of those, but more so the Kurosawa Japanese action movies like that. So Seven Samurai, that's on my list.
Yeah, it's been
So
on HBO Max since HBO Max was first a thing, and I still haven't seen it. I'm terrible.
yeah,
I don't deserve nice things in any way. All right, so number 3 for me is Citizen Kane. Kind of for a pretentious.
that's not on my list,
Yeah,
but
kind of
yeah.
for a pretentious reason.
Same.
So, mainly the reason I've wanted to watch this for so long is that I kept hearing
It's the greatest movie ever.
And
No, it's not.
For me,
I can already tell you it's not.
when I hear people like talk about things, whether like, this thing was really good or really bad or really controversial, I have this in my head. I'm like, I'll see about that. I'll be the final critic on that. Like that's the reason I played Last of Us 2. Like I kept hearing the conversation. I'm like, I gotta play this. Oh, the remasters on PS4. Okay, I'm gonna see what the big, what the big deal is. So I want to see Citizen Kane. I don't really even know much about it other than it's like a story of a guy's life and how he, I guess, like his downfall in various ways. Like I mean, things like that sound cool. I really like coming of age stories and like tragic characters, but I mainly just want to see this movie so that I could finally either be like, I finally saw Citizen Kane and yeah, it's great, or
Yeah.
I saw Citizen Kane and hot take, I think it's just okay. So yeah.
I'm in the same boat, but at this point I'm like I just don't want to watch it because it does not look that good. But
Yeah.
whatever. uh So there were a lot of movies that were on my watch list, but the last few years I've been going through and taking them off. One of them that I watched recently was Inception.
Ah, great movie.
I Yeah, great movie. I never seen it and I always heard a lot about it, so I was like, let me actually sit down and watch it. I loved it. So my next pick is kind of in a way very similar to it. It is a seminal sci-fi movie about perspective and control in your mind, and that is The Matrix. Yes, I know.
I didn't even know that
Okay,
was possible.
so that honestly might be the biggest upset of my list, aside from
Uh,
Everything
I
Everywhere All at
mean,
Once.
here's a hot take. I think The Matrix is really good. It's a little overrated. Reloaded's better. Now I've officially ruined
Oh,
my credibility forever.
well, I got to watch
Until
all of
we
them. I've
talk
never
about
seen
Last
any
of
of
Us
them,
2, but yeah.
but I love the whole aspect that it's a computer generated dream world designed to keep humans under control. That is that story, just that premise right there, that gets me. I'm interested. That's all you got to say. I'm gonna watch it. I just for some reason haven't watched it yet, so I'll probably take that off my list very soon because I love Keanu. Uh, every clip I've seen from the movie, I'm like, this looks absurd in the most
Yeah.
fun way possible.
I'll tell you this, the fight scenes, uh,
Good, yeah. See,
incredible.
I love that stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know how I
yeah,
haven't watched it yet, but
I haven't seen too many of the Wachowskis movies, but everyone I have seen, I'm just like, there are few people making movies on this caliber, and it's crazy that they're not bigger than they are. Dude, like Speed Racer is one of my favorite
yeah,
movies. Incredible.
I've watched some of it. And I tried to put movies on my list too that I just have never watched because there are some movies that I watched a little bit, like the first Lord of the Rings. I watched the whole thing, but I wasn't really paying attention. And if you asked me anything about it, I wouldn't be able to tell you. So that's like one that I would have put on my list, but I technically watched it, so I didn't want to put on
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah.
So, all right. And your
Okay, my
last
my
pick.
number 4 is Mean Girls. Now, the reason I
Okay.
picked this is because
Tell
look,
me.
I love Lindsay Lohan. You know, she was big back in the day. All of us had a crush on her. Whether
I
you're
think I've seen this,
men or women,
but I tried to
men or
forget it.
women, we all had crushes on her. I've always thought she was a pretty good actress. I've seen a few of her movies recently, and she's underrated. I'm happy that she's gained a resurgence. She seems to be really doing well in her life, which I'm happy about. I can't wait to see what she does in the future. I love Rachel McAdams, great actress. This movie, like it's regarded as like one of the best comedies, one of the best high school
Yeah.
movies. I know for a fact I'm gonna really like it when I see it, but for some reason I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah. Interesting pick.
And I yeah, I just it's like Amanda Seyfried in one of her earliest roles in this movie actually. Lacey Chabert I think is in this movie. Like this is kind of quintessential like early 2000s stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I it's a part of my like like my childhood era when I was growing up that I missed out on. So I think that's just part of
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah. That's a good pick. You said that was your fourth?
Yeah.
You got any more?
One more, yeah.
All right. What's
We
your
did a
last one?
top 5, right?
That's right. Because I grouped my. Okay. I had The Godfather, so I was one behind. So I gave five.
Oh, you
I
did?
said The Godfather when you did yours
Oh,
because The
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Godfather was
Okay.
literally on my list.
My
Yeah.
last one is Dread. Not Judge
Oh,
Dredd with Sylvester Stallone.
okay.
Dread with
Hold on.
Carl Urban.
Wait. So is it the Carl Urban one or
Yeah,
not?
yeah, the Carl Urban one.
Okay, I've seen that one. I haven't seen
Yeah, like
the other ones.
this just seems like a movie I would like. I like Carl Urban. I like action, movies.
It's actually pretty good.
With
Yeah.
like small stakes. Really good tension, stylized stuff.
It's brutal, man.
Yeah, apparently, um, I saw a quote like years ago from Carl. He said that the movie, like, I guess like the studio was having problems with the director, Pete Travis. So like the movie was actually like kind of directed by the writer Alex Garland, who did Ex Machina and Annihilation. Two of the
Oh,
greatest sci-fi movies. Just incredible director, incredible visionary talent. Um, so if that's the case, I have even more reason to watch it, and I don't know why I haven't seen it yet.
yeah, I think you would like it because, dude, Carl Urban, what
A
a
lot of people
guy.
wanted him as Batman and Batman v Superman because of this movie.
Yeah, honestly, I think he would have killed it.
Yeah.
That is a great list. So give me go through all five. Just list them real quick.
All right. So, Pulp Fiction, The Godfather,
Okay,
Citizen Kane, Mean Girls, and Dread.
great list. Mine is Rambo, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Godfather, Seven Samurai, and The Matrix. We lost all credibility with that.
Yeah.
So it's going to get worse, though, because now we're moving to our game backlog and we're going to lose any ounce of credibility we had left. It's gone after this. So I started out the movie one. You want to start out the game one?
Yeah. So, I'm going to actually do my number one last because it's the most like what I like, and I just want to save
Okay.
it. So, my number one, my retroactive number one is Xenoblade Chronicles. So,
Okay.
I've uh
That's up your alley.
yeah, I've been vocal that I don't really like open world games, but from what I know about this game, it's not necessarily open world so much as like the areas you travel through are like really big zones. And that's my thing. Like, like a game with like a few areas that are big you can explore, but it's not like, oh, now I gotta travel like 27,000 miles to do this. The premise is incredible. Like, the planet you're living on is on the back of this giant creature called a Titan, I think, or I forget what they're.
I don't know
I
anything
forget
about
what
it.
they're. But like a long time ago, these two giant creatures were fighting, and then I guess they like died or whatever. And then the place you're living on is the back of one of the creatures. So that's the planet you're living on. It's not a planet. It's on the back of a giant creature in space, basically. Um, the combat looks cool. It's like real time turn based. So like you choose an action, like they're like your character attacks automatically, but there's like a menu that you like choose, and that there's like team up attacks, um, stuff like that. Like kind of like Chrono Trigger. It
Yeah.
seems like Final
Just
Fantasy VII Rebirth is actually taking some inspiration from that kind of thing, which seems really cool.
are you interested in Chrono Trigger at all?
I played a little bit of it a while ago and just dropped off. But yeah,
Okay.
I want to rebuy it on 3DS.
Okay.
So yeah, like the voice cast is British, which I love British people. I don't know. I think they're cool.
Hey, governor.
Yeah, like if you make an
I love
RPG with British people,
you.
I automatically think it looks like.
Give me some fish and chips, eh?
I don't know what that was. That was certainly an accent.
Okay.
So yeah, like I've had my eye on this game for a while, and a pattern with me in this list is that there are games that get announced in a year that I want to play, and then what do?
Yeah.
I get distracted by other games and I don't play them,
Yeah.
and then I just never play them. I hate it. So I want to play Xenoblade Chronicles soon because, I mean, for the love, like it's like a lot of people talk about the Switch. It's like, oh, the Switch sucks. The Switch is this and this, dude. Look at gameplay footage of this, the Switch version of this, which is essentially like a big remaster because it originally came out on Wii, and tell me that the Switch can't run big games. I don't want to hear it. Shut up. So yeah, this game just looks like it strikes every kind of box that I would want in a role playing game. and I'm mad that I still haven't played it.
So that's a good pick. My list is very interesting because I've been doing a great job of managing my backlog the last few years. I told you once I got my PS5, I kind of went through, and for the first year I had my PS5, I played nothing but old games on it.
Oh,
It's kind of weird. It's like games that could run on a PS3. I'm playing on my PS5. That's what I was doing, but I managed to run through a lot of games, and some games that I went through that would have been on my list would have been like a Jedi Fallen Order or Last of Us Part 2, but I've been running through these games. Like BioShock was on there for a long time, and that got crossed off. So the ones on my list are more so seminal games. Like I have an unofficial one that would be like a Dead Space, but that's not like a seminal game. Yeah, that's maybe the greatest survival horror game ever, and they just came out with a remake, and I'll get around to it, but that's not like a seminal game for me, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll get into it. My first pick, Persona 4 Golden. Here's why that's on there. Because I was a huge fan of the PlayStation Vita, and this is the greatest game on the Vita. This is number one Vita game right here. And I know a little bit about Persona 3, 4, and 5, and the story and aspects and theme of 4 is what I want to play. Like 3 Remake, I might look into it. I played 4 or 5 hours of Persona 5 Royal, and it didn't really grip me. So Persona 4 Golden is the only one that I haven't played yet. That is a seminal game on my list, because I'm not the biggest fan of these type of
you
RPGs.
might like 4 a lot because it's like
isn't it more like superhero theme?
No, it's like a murder mystery vibe. But
yeah, that too. I love murder mysteries.
Like,
you're gonna see that. Yeah,
I feel like like 3 and 5.
I love that.
It like you're like going around like like the city of Japan or whatever. But 4, you're kind of relegated to like the small town that you're living in. So like it has like a smaller scale vibe. So that might be something that you find more engaging.
Yeah. So to circle way back to the Q-Lite talk, I actually I downloaded Persona 4 Golden on Xbox, and what I do is I've been downloading games on Xbox and playing them on my phone using the Backbone. So what I plan on doing is using the Backbone to turn my phone into a Vita and playing Persona 4 Golden on my phone through xCloud. That's hopefully what I'm doing. I haven't downloaded and everything ready to go. I guess xCloud is streaming, but anyways, I have it on my Xbox ready to go. All right, first pick out of the way. Give me your second.
I just want to say real quick about Project Q. As much as I think it's kind of dumb because it's only like you have to be on Wi-Fi and in your house. Like, how do a lot of people play their Switch laying in bed, laying on the couch in handheld mode? So
that's what I do.
I like. I think it's still going to sell well because people just like to play games that way sometimes. So, I mean, that seems... I'm not going to buy one, obviously, when I get my PS5, but, like, I think it has a place. So, my second pick isn't a seminal game to people. Like, it didn't get great reviews, but it's kind of seminal to me because, speaking of Persona, it's kind of similar. And it's Marvel-themed, which, as you know, if you're listening to this podcast...
I know what it is, yeah.
I hate Marvel. No, I'm kidding. I'm a Marvel fanboy, man. Come on. I met Sam Raimi, for crying out loud. Marvel's Midnight Suns is
That's such a good pick.
Tactic.
That's such a good pick.
Card-based RPG in the Marvel universe that has like a Persona-like social element. Sounds like my kind of game. And, I do this...
Me too. Yeah.
I pick this partially because of this problem I have. I don't know if you have this problem. I need to stop being like this because it's kind of crippling my exploring things in life, I guess you could say, is that I'll be excited for a game. I'm going to buy this full price, because I think it looks really cool, really interesting.
And then you're like, oh, I'll wait for a sale.
And then
you wait years.
I hear, as soon as I hear a few people give kind of not great reviews, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to wait instead of just experiencing the damn game. I don't know why I do it. Why do I care? Yeah. So, it's one of those games, I was prepared to buy it when it came out. Like, I don't buy that many games at full price, but if I think a game looks great enough, like I took a chance on Remake, knowing like nothing about Final Fantasy VII really, bought it at full price. It's my favorite game ever made. So there are times where I like to do that. I was ready to buy this at full price and just play it, and then I didn't because I heard some people say, "Oh, the social sim aspect isn't that great." There are things about the game that aren't great. So it's just one of those that I want to play, like, just that for my own opinion instead of following, like the general consensus of what other people say.
I like that. That's a good explanation. So to move on to my second pick, I actually should go back and put Dead Space as my pick because that's actually probably better than this one. But my second pick is actually Middle Earth: Shadow of War.
I want to play that one.
And the
That's
reason
on PS3,
why is
right? Or is that the PS4?
No, that was That's PS4.
Okay,
well, I think both of them were.
I think Shadow of Mordor. That's the PS3 one, right?
Yeah. No, Shadow of Mordor was I think 2014, and then Shadow of War was I believe 2017 or 18. So here's why this is on here specifically. I'm such a big fan of Star Wars, and I actually did get into Lord of the Rings a little bit. I love the Hobbit movies, and I watched the first Lord of the Rings movie. This game looks very good, and it has that Nemesis system. It just speaks to me with the action and the setting, the mythology and the fantasy of it. I actually just downloaded it yesterday on my PlayStation, so I'll probably cross this off soon, but we'll see. That's just kind of a seminal pick because the Lord of the Rings, that is a big franchise. That's up there with Harry Potter, Star Wars, and I'm not the biggest fan of the original Lord of the Rings movies. I do like I said, I like The Hobbit, but I think this game what can get me into the franchise.
You like The Hobbit more than the original Lord of the Rings trilogy?
I only watched the first movie and I barely remember it, but I remember watching all 3 of the Hobbit movies, and I love the Hobbit trilogy. So if I go back and I watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy, like the originals, I'll probably like it. But I like the prequel aspect of the Hobbit. I like it. I'm a prequel fan. What can I say?
You like Battle of the Five Armies?
I love that movie. It's absurd. It makes no sense, but the action is amazing. I like the Desolation of Smaug really a lot. I think it's a pretty good movie.
I like that one, but then I saw Battle of Five Armies and just retroactively hated the entire trilogy. But
like I said, I'm not big into this franchise, but I want to be, so that's why this is on there on my list. So that's my second.
I feel like one way that I'll play a open world style game is if it's Lord of the Rings. So I definitely want to play these. For sure, like from what I've read, they're not really long necessarily, which is good. Like if you're gonna make
really good things about them.
Like if you're gonna make a open world game, I'd prefer the main story to not be that long, because then I'll be like, okay, I don't mind doing side quests.
Yeah. So that's my second. You're up for the third.
This guy likes the Hobbit trilogy. I don't know what the I don't know what to say.
I like the prequels.
The prequels are miles better. Well, for the most part. Okay. Anyway, my next pick is another one I wanted to get at launch, and then didn't because my attention span is on life support. That is Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Bro, after this episode, we're done filming. I'm gonna go pick it up from the store.
I want to play this. That's so interesting. So bad. I
will let you know.
I was a little bummed out because the trailer made it seem like it was like an action RPG. I don't know why I assumed it wouldn't be like a platformer of any kind.
Yeah, it's a 3D platformer. Those are my games. I love 3D platformers. But
I'll tell you why. The natural light in my room just got dimmer. What the hell? Edit this out. Yeah. So
for some reason, I gotta do a lot of editing.
It just looks. It just looks awesome. Like the setting looks
really
cool.
Does.
It's like a post-apocalyptic Kirby game. Like I've heard people say that the final moments of the game like ramp up and get really crazy. Like I guess it is a staple in the Kirby franchise. I want to know what that's about. Like it just looks like like a great game to play kind of when you're feeling lazy, because of the like level based platformer aspect of it. Like it's not too big of a commitment. I was so ready to get this at launch, and then I just didn't, and I don't know why. I'm still kicking myself about it. I have
Me
it.
too.
I think I found a copy on like Marketplace that I'll probably get soon. Just because, as much as I don't want to make my backlog bigger, if I see an opportunity to get a game I've had my eye on for a while, I'm going to prioritize that and buy that. Which is why I bought Shia. Played a little,
Such a good game.
Played a little bit of that, and
that game is
I cried.
So good.
I cried. I played like 20 minutes and I cried. But
it's so good.
So yeah, that's definitely one I'm going to prioritize because it just looks cool, and I've never been into Kirby besides playing him in Smash Bros. But yeah, it just looks like a vibe, and one of the better first party Nintendo games in recent years.
Yeah, I completely agree. I love that pick. That game looks amazing. I'm actually going to pick it up today.
Oh, sweet.
All right, so that is your third pick. Are you ready?
I don't know.
Let me pull up mine. It is ready for this?
Yeah, sure.
Metal Gear Solid 3. So on here, I have Metal Gear Solid 3, the OG, because I really want to play Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, 4, and 5 and go on like that. So luckily for me, they're re-releasing these games on modern platforms, and they're also remaking 3. So
yeah,
I'm super excited for this because I was actually going to try to find a physical version of the one that had 2 and 3 in it, the collection, and play through them. And I was really looking into it or doing something, and then they announced that they're coming out with Metal Gear Solid. So how does it make you feel that I've never played a Metal Gear game?
I haven't either. Beyond when I was a kid, I had a demo disc for the PS1, and it had the demo for Metal Gear Solid 1. I forget how far it goes, and I think I actually managed to beat it once, but then I tried playing it like years ago, and I couldn't. Like that, it's just so weird. Like like the isometric views a little disorienting. I feel like there's no way to be stealthy without people seeing you. You die easily, but it's a franchise that I definitely want to check out. I can't wait to play the trilogy on PS5 and then play the other ones.
Dude, good. Me and you are in the same boat, so we can go through that together. And we're also in the same boat on another game, so I can't wait to talk about that.
Another game?
Yes, we'll get into it. So Metal Gear Solid, we talked a lot about Metal Gear. People know what Metal Gear is. That's on my list. I'm ashamed, but that's my third pick. So you're up for the fourth.
Okay, my fourth pick is Infamous.
What?
Yeah, never played Infamous. But I mean, it's basically a superhero game where you have a choice. You can be either a hero or a anti-hero villain. Choice is my jam in games. It breaks my heart a lot, but I still love it anyway. It's kind of open world, but not really. But like you could like fly and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to buy, because like I think the first 2 or 3 are like locked to PS3, but then so like 2 of the newer ones are on PS4 and beyond.
So there was Infamous 1 and 2 with Cole on PS3, and then there was also Infamous Festival of Blood, which was a DLC. It was almost standalone like a Miles Morales, and then there's Infamous Second Son, which was I believe a launch game within the first year on PS4 with its DLC Infamous First Light. So,
and then is that the most recent one, or Is there another one?
Yes, that's the
Okay.
most recent.
Yeah, like it just seems like such a cool series. I remember like when I was in high school or whatever, or maybe middle school, like seeing
It's a great
footage. It
series.
was either that or Prototype that I thought looked cool, and I just never played them. And it's like I know that I'd probably enjoy them. So they're definitely priorities soon because I just love the idea of like kind of having my like seeing like what kind of choices I would be able to make like if I was put in this position, you know, like that vicarious aspect of those kind of games. So I mean,
I
you
think
put
you should,
that
yeah, because you
into
have a PS4.
yeah.
Yeah, just hop in the Infamous Second Son. It's a good game.
Yeah, if you put that
You'll be shocked.
if you put that aspect, you know, like narrative choice into like a different like genre of game, I that's something that really like I feel like in my opinion
You're gonna love my next pick.
maybe Spider-Man PS4 should have had something like that because that would make sense. But yeah, I can't wait to play them. Hopefully at some point they do a big bundle for modern consoles because people would love it.
Bro, people want an Infamous trilogy like re-release so bad. And after, bro, that's my favorite game studio. You know, I love Insomniac and Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch is my all-time favorite.
Insomniac
Always will be. No, I said
Oh.
Insomniac is up there as one of my favorite, but Sucker Punch is my favorite. And yeah, of course, they made Infamous and then went on to make Ghost of Tsushima. And what is a game that doesn't give you really like a choice in the story until the very end where you have a significant choice? Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Have you played it at all?
I played it like in 2020 for a bit, and I honestly just got bored.
So imagine
It's a great game, but it just
imagine-
wasn't necessarily for me, I guess.
imagine The Last of Us, like the first Last of Us game, and you don't have a choice throughout the whole game of what you do, but at the very end of the game, it gives you a choice to tell Ellie the truth or not. That is what Ghost of Tsushima does.
Yeah, I
You
know.
don't
Like,
have a choice throughout
you
the
could
whole
choose
game.
whether or
Yeah.
not to kill your father, right?
Not quite, but it's along those
Okay.
lines. So, anyways, great studio. Love those games. Great. That's a great pick. You got to play Infamous. My next pick, I really hope you understand this game, because if you don't, I'm going to have to explain a little bit. My fourth pick is Disco Elysium Final
I
Cut.
want to play that so bad, dude.
Okay. So, Disco Elysium Final Cut. It is made by, I don't know how you pronounce this studio's name. It's ZAUM.
Yeah,
and it
I've
has
never heard it said. I don't
Yeah,
think.
so I'm not sure, but their first game was Disco Elysium. It was released on PC in 2019. Since then, it's won numerous awards and Game of the Year honors, including 4 Game Awards, 3 BAFTAs, which is insane, and a DICE Award, which is also insane. The definitive edition of the game, Disco Elysium: The Final Cut, was released on PC, Mac, and consoles March 2021. And I'm just going to read a summary and then a review real quick. Disco Elysium: The Final Cut is a definitive edition of the smash hit RPG. Pursue your political dreams in new quests, meet and question more of the city's locals, and explore a whole extra area. Full voice acting, controller support, and expanded language options also included. Get even more out of this award-winning open world. You're a detective with a unique skill system at your disposal and a whole city block to carve your path across. Interrogate unforgettable characters, crack murders, or take bribes. Become a hero or an absolute disaster of a human being.
Yeah, dude,
If
this
that doesn't make you want to play it,
yeah, now
wow.
like you know, like kind of outspoken as not really being an RPG fan, but one way to make me want to play an RPG is if the whole game is just interaction.
Choices.
Yeah, like this game seems like it was made for me, and I didn't think to put it on my list, but it would probably be honestly at number like 2 or 3 because it just seems like right up my alley, and I've wanted to get it on sale a few times, and I never did, and I don't know why.
that's why I'm glad we're doing this, because this game feels like it's made for me too, and because I'm big into the noir detective fiction, especially. Like, I'm not huge into political stuff, but political aspects of this game with the choices you make is super interesting. And I'm gonna read IGN's review on this because they gave it a 100, and I'm looking on Metacritic right now. They gave it 100. Disco Elysium is a unique blend of noir detective fiction, traditional pen and paper RPGs, and a large helping of existential theory. Its twisting plot, cast of memorable characters, and sheer depth of choice combine to create an experience that begs to be savored. It hits on every single one of the marks it sets out to achieve and left me yearning to spend more time in its world, removing any of the minor gripes I had with the original by adding new quests and a full cast of well-voiced characters. The final cut alleviates Disco Elysium from an already phenomenal RPG to a true must-play masterpiece. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Those kind of like what I love about like those kind of games is that like they genuinely sometimes like shape my opinions and like reveal things about, like my own personality and my own behaviors that I didn't know. So, that's why, I just think they're really cool. And actually, that's a perfect segue to my number one, a game series I've been wanting to get into for a while. Don't know why the hell I never did. It's been a priority, but I never did it. Life is Strange. What if
I downloaded Life is Strange True Colors and I'm about to play it.
What
soon.
have I been doing? Like, dude,
Yeah.
I have like a 95%
that's your
certainty
game right there.
that these games are gonna break me, especially the second one because it's about a brother.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's two brothers. I'm kind of, not ready for that, but I mean, you gotta face life. But I mean, yeah, like you.
That's a good pick.
It's about their coming of age stories. The characters have superpowers. You can choose how to use your powers. You can like form relationships. I mean, it's like my kind of game, and I should just cancel everything else on my backlog and just play these. But for some reason, I can never bring myself to, even though I want to. It's such a paradox.
So I completely agree with you. It's also on my list. And you know what's a paradox? My last pick. And I saved it for last. Best for last. We've been hinting at it the entire time. Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, yeah.
The OG and the remake. Because I really want to play the OG Final Fantasies. I kind of want to play 4,
we could have
but I know I'm not going to like 4.
Interesting conversation about OG remake, where to start, because I can't say specifically why you would want to choose one over the other, which sounds weird, but it'll all make sense in a few years once you actually do. But yeah.
I really want to play 4. I want to play 6, and I want to play 8. 9 is actually getting a remake treatment just like 7.
That's gonna be cool.
I'm excited for that. I have Final Fantasy VII Remake downloaded, and I've been wanting to play it, but I think the problem is I really want to play the OG before I play the remake. I know it doesn't really matter, but
did you get?
I feel like that's something that I should do
for the remake. Did you get the PS5 edition? That's like the remaster, and then it comes with the DLC. It's a intergrade.
The intergrade. Yeah. I think, I have intergrade. I have both remake and intergrade.
Because of the pandemic and stuff, I think like they couldn't touch up the game as much as they would have wanted to. So intergrade just like, makes things better.
Well, the fact that everybody has been like Final Fantasy is one of the biggest game series ever. Everybody I know, all my friends love Final Fantasy. And now it's getting this crazy remake treatment, and obviously Rebirth is coming out, the one after it. So it's the time to jump into it. It's always been there on my backlog list. So now I just got to get into it. And what I will say is I think I'll actually be able to like it and stick with it, because another series that was in my backlog was Resident Evil. And when Capcom started coming out with all of the remakes and stuff, I was like, now's my time. And I actually did jump into it. At one point, I owned Resident Evil 2 remake, 3 remake, 8, 8 Village, 8 Village, and then I think I had 7 Biohazard. I had all of them installed, and I started playing through 2 and 3, and I was just like, this isn't for me. And I'm sad because now they came out with 4 remake, and I'm just looking at it, and Resident Evil, the remakes are great, but it's just not for me. But every single time I see anything from Final Fantasy remake, 7 remake, I'm like, this looks amazing. So I think I'm gonna love jumping into this.
Yeah, it's like a cool fusion. Like it's like
Yeah.
action combat instead of turn based, but there's a thing where like you have a ATB bar, that's like I think it's split into like 3 sections, and then so like when you're fighting, it gradually fills up, and then like once a part of it fills up, you can open up a menu, and then it kind of pauses the game, and you can choose. So it's like
Yeah.
real time and turn
It's
based.
just like Guardians of the
And
Galaxy.
dude, it's like it was such a like it was like it makes me it like made you because some RPGs can feel mindless, but like that game like constantly makes you think of like strategies, because it's like, oh, like
I love it.
I
Yeah.
want to have this character use cure on that character, but oh, it'd be better if they use magic on this boss because they're weak to a spell that they have. Like it's so intense.
I love that.
I love the combat. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's all great.
but I know you have experience with Final Fantasy, and that's why I wanted to bring it up and all that.
I mean,
like,
not that much.
Life is Strange is a great choice, but like Life is Strange, that's something both of us want to get into. It's on both of our backlogs, so I think that's a great pick. But yeah, Final Fantasy, that's my last one, and we can go through our list real quick and then be out of here because that's it.
Yeah.
So your top 5 seminal video games that are still in your backlog.
Xenoblade Chronicles, Marvel's Midnight Suns,
Okay.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Infamous, and Life is Strange.
Dude, that list is so good. I'm so glad we did this. So my game backlog: Persona 4 Golden, Middle Earth, Shadow of War, Metal Gear Solid 3, Disco Elysium, Final Cut, and Final Fantasy 7. What a list.
Yeah.
So I text you, one thing I want to do at the end of each episode now is give a game or movie recommendation, and that's it. And we can end it. Anything you want to shout out and give a recommendation to. It can be literally anything you want. Because we've been going for a while now. I think we got enough. I might even break this up into parts because I really think we went over a lot. So any game or movie.
You know what? I did see a movie in theaters recently. Probably not there anymore because it flopped. No one knew it existed. It's called Hypnotic. It came out this year by the legendary filmmaker Robert Rodriguez. Spy Kids, Ev Mariachi, Desperado, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Sin City. One of the best, most creative filmmakers. It's a sci-fi movie about. All I'm gonna say is it's about memory, and that's all I'm gonna say. I thought it was great. Like it was, trippy and interesting, and like it had so many twists and turns. It's like my kind of. It felt like a movie made by Spike Chunsoft. In a way, It's a little Inception-y. Ben Affleck gave a really good performance, in my opinion. Alice Braga was great. I just really want people to see it because, nobody, like my friend and I saw it and we were the only one in our theaters. Like nobody knew about this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like it just got like shadow dropped. It's one of those movies that just got a bad rep, but it's everything I want blockbusters to be now. Like it's well shot, it's creative, it's interesting. It's not perfect, but it's one of the best thrill rides in a movie that I've experienced in recent memory, and
dude, I can't wait.
I will sing its praises forever.
Nice. And other end of the spectrum, I'll talk about a game, and that game is Cassette Beast.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool.
My light just died, but I think it did. It just died. Cassette Beast. It is a cool Pokemon-like game, and that's all I'll say. Instead of Pokeballs and digital monsters, it's cassette tapes and kind of still digital monsters, but it's a Pokemon-like game with quests. It's a lot of fun.
I wouldn't recommend.
It's on. I'm playing it on Game Pass.
I would not recommend the Switch version because it kind of stutters weird and stuff. And I mean, it hasn't been terrible, but I don't know. It's weird. Like,
yeah,
I think it's just
Mine does a little bit.
I think it's just the optimization. But I mean, I like. Yeah, I've been playing a little bit. I like the music.
Dude, it's pretty good. The music and the art.
I like the, like the world and stuff. The story. That one scene that showed like the Archangel, as they call it.
Dude, that scene
creepy.
got me.
That's creepy as hell. I really want to know what's going on.
It really pulls you in. This little game.
Like the system of like currency is a little weird because like it's not just money. It's like
you have to.
You just have to
battle
like,
to get resources.
Hope to get random drops of random stuff that you need for different things. That's really weird, but yeah, it's a creative game, and I want to give it more of a fair shot before I really have an opinion.
Yeah, it's creative and charming. Fun game. So check out those. And that's it for this episode. Tony, thank you for coming on. It's been
Always
fun. We talked about a lot. I might even break this up into multiple ones. You've lost all credibility in my eyes. So this will be your last episode.
Says a guy who hasn't seen Everything Everywhere all at once.
Whoa. Chill. Maybe I have in another lifetime, another universe.
Okay. That's
in the multiverse somewhere, there's a version of me where everything is the exact same except I've seen the movie. I think that's how that works. There's another universe where we're actual podcasters.
There's a universe where I'm dating Grace Van Dien, and it may or may not be this one. I don't know. I'm hoping, but
And then there's a universe where we actually end this where it's supposed to end too. So, all right, that's it for this. I had a lot of fun, and we'll catch you guys episode 23, and that'll actually be a new hope for this. Just in general, it'll just be a new hope for us.
Hopefully.
So, all right, thanks for coming on.